Hazel, can you give us a brief description of your responsibilities and your role as Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government?
Well, I'm in charge of setting overall policy in terms of local government, also for trying to encourage people from every single different community across Britain to come together and to build really strong neighbourhoods. I'm the Minister for Race, so tackling issues around equality for people from black and minority ethnic communities. I'm the Minister for Faith, so making sure that Jewish people, Christian people, Muslim people all come together again and share communities. I'm also responsible for housing, so building 3 million new homes over the next few years, and responsible for the planning system, so making sure that we have the right plans in place to create the kind of communities where people really want to live and work and bring up their families.
So within this role, what's your vision for youth engagement in shaping sort of their own local communities?
Well, one of the exciting things that I'm encouraging is called participatory budgeting, or community kitties, and it's basically where local people have a big say about how the money is going to be spent in their area. And some of the best ones that we've done so far have involved young people deciding where the money should be spent, particularly on youth facilities. And interestingly, we did one up in the northeast where we had young people and older people coming together, and everybody thought the young people would vote for the internet cafe and the skateboard park, and in fact they didn't. They voted to spend money on some work that would help particularly older people, and so it was a great example of understanding, you know, things from different perspectives really. But we're hoping over the next few years that every local authority will be doing participatory budgeting and involving young people specifically in shaping their own neighbourhood.
Okay, thank you. We have some questions which have been submitted via our Facebook group, which I'd like to put to you. Firstly, Norbert asks what role the British government is playing in finding solutions to alleviate poverty in Africa.
Well, Norbert, since our government came to power 10 years ago, we've made tackling problems in Africa an absolute top priority. In the latest spending review that we've had, we've given a significant amount of extra money to the Department for International Development to be able to not just give out aid, but also to have sustainable projects so that people in Africa can actually shape their own futures for the long term. We've also had a massive programme on tackling AIDS and tackling all of the diseases which unfortunately mean lots of people in Africa die too young, which I think is really important. And on the world stage, trying to make sure that trade is fair so that people in countries, not just Africa, but in all the developing countries, get a fair price for the things that they produce is a top priority as well.
Thank you. Nicole Murphy asks what measures are being taken by this government to ensure that within the Parliament is representing people from a diversity of backgrounds and across the age range?
Well, Nicole, one of the big things we did was we decided that in the Labour Party we would have all women shortlists, and that meant in 1997 we had 100 women coming into Parliament, which we never would have done without that. We also now absolutely want to encourage people from black and minority ethnic communities to come to Parliament. We have not got anywhere like enough people, and certainly we haven't got Asian women, which is a top priority of mine, and therefore we're doing work shadowing, buddying, special training, all of that to try and make sure that people come through the system. And I have taken some specific steps around councillors to try and make sure we have more young councillors coming into local authorities, because unless we've got the energy and dynamism that young people bring, then we won't be renewing ourselves for the future.
Thank you. Linda Hawkins asks, given changes in funding for higher education in England recently, redirecting funds away from second degrees, what impact could this potentially have for people? What could this mean for people taking a first degree?
Well, I think what our policy is designed to encourage is to try and get more people, not just into higher education, but also into further education as well. You have to look at this right across the system and try and make sure that people from backgrounds who traditionally didn't have a chance to go on to university in future do. That's one of the reasons why we've just said we want to raise the school leaving age from 16 to 18, because unless you're staying on at 16, you don't then have a chance to go on to university. So there has always got to be a balance gaps in the system, and trying to make sure as many people as possible, particularly from poorer backgrounds, have a chance to go on to higher education is very important to us. Now, I know that a lot of people have struggled in the past with fees. That's why we've made sure people don't pay fees up front, and why we've brought back the bursaries again to try and make sure that people who don't have a lot of money have a chance to go on to further in higher education. So it's impossible really to please everybody all the time, but we're doing our best to make sure people get an equal chance.
Because she certainly expressed a fear that it would mean a redirection, it eventually would trickle down and mean a redirection of funds away from first-time degree applicants, but this is actually the reverse.
No, what we're trying to do is to make sure more people have a chance to go on to university. When I was, a long time ago, when I was thinking about going on to college, I think there was less than 10% of people went. Now it's way up into nearly 50%, so it's changed dramatically under our government. But I think the future economy, the challenge from China and India, is going to mean we need more graduates, not less.
Thank you for that. Ellie Furness asks, with the introduction of citizenship tests as part of gaining British citizenship status, what support and guidance is given to ensure that immigrants are able to pass these tests, and what is the process by which they are enabled to take the test in the first place?
Well, there is support. There's written material produced, so people can get access to the kind of questions that are going to be asked. I think there are also some short courses that people can actually go on in terms of getting citizenship. And I think it is important, if you're applying to be a citizen of any country really, that you should understand the kind of values and systems and how things work in that country, because actually those are important to playing a full role in our society. So there is assistance out there for people to come forward, take the tests. What I've been heartened about is just how much people value the citizenship ceremonies that we've brought in. And at first people thought, oh, this was a bit of a strange thing to do, but in fact the citizenship ceremonies where you go along with your family and celebrate your citizenship have been incredibly popular.
It's a system that they've had in Australia, isn't it? They have sort of these citizenship ceremonies. Has it been adapted from that system, or is it?
Well, it happens in various countries across the world, and I think that obviously having something that is particularly relevant to Britain is important. But that sense of celebration, that this is a big moment in your life, actually getting your citizenship, I think that's really important. Because what we do want is everybody in this country who are citizens of our country to play a full role in all of our civic life.
Okay, thank you very much, Hazel.
You're very welcome. I've enjoyed it.
Sums up our questions. Thanks a lot.